Okay, I hope I'm audible to all my students who are attending this online lesson for the PG CUET Economics course. In this particular lesson, I'm going to start with the discussion of the 2025 question paper, which has come up for the PG CUET Economics entrance. Students can now see the question paper on your screens. Okay, the paper was conducted on 28th March 2025. If I scroll down the question paper, it had 75 questions in total. Okay, and all these questions need to be attempted. If I scroll down, let's quickly start with the discussion of the first question. These are all multiple choice questions coming from microeconomics, macroeconomics, statistics, econometrics, Indian economy, all these modules. Okay, requesting all those students who are planning to prepare for PG CUET economics entrance, you can buy my complete self-paced study course for PG CUET economics entrance, which spans all topics from microeconomics, macroeconomics, statistics, econometrics, and Indian economy. Okay, let's quickly start from the discussion of question number 1 in this particular online lesson. Okay, so let's look at question number 1. Remember, every question you get 4 marks for a correct answer, you lose 1 mark for a wrong answer. So there is negative marking also. Okay, let's look at question number 1. If the demand function is given by P equals 110 minus Q square and the market equilibrium is attained at the price of 29 and quantity of 9, we need to calculate the consumer surplus, and we are given 4 options. Okay, we are given the demand function, we are given that the equilibrium is attained at these values of price and quantity respectively. Consumer surplus, recall from my lectures on introductory microeconomics, consumer surplus is simply the area which is below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price. Okay, let me quickly come to the whiteboard to solve this, and let me also explain and revise consumer surplus with all students. I am just writing the main heading for clarity. This is PG CUET economics entrance. This is PG CUET economics entrance. We are looking at the 2025 question paper for discussion. And we are looking at question number 1. I'm quickly writing what is given to us. We are given the demand function, which is Q equals, it's P. Let me correct this. This is P equals 110 minus Q square. This is the demand function given to us. We are given that the equilibrium price is 29, equilibrium quantity is 9. We need to find the consumer surplus. Okay, so revising consumer surplus with all students, recall that consumer surplus graphically is measured by the area below the demand curve, and above the equilibrium price. It is measured by the area below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price. If I draw a rough sketch of it, remember, it's not a linear, it's a quadratic demand function. We have price, we have quantity. If I put Q as 0, I get the price as 110. If I put Q as 0 in this, price is 110. And it's going to be a demand function somewhat like this. Now, we are given that the equilibrium price is 29. That means that, let's say, this is 29 and this is 9. What is the consumer surplus? The consumer surplus is going to be this blue portion. It's the area below the demand and above the equilibrium. Okay, above the equilibrium price, I can write. In this case, the equilibrium price is 29. So this area is going to be my consumer surplus. Now, how can I find it? First of all, I can find the entire area below the demand curve from 0 to 9, and then I can subtract the rectangle. So students can see, first I'm going to find this whole green area. So the green area is what? I can write the green shaded area is going to be integrating from 0 to 9 the demand curve. What's the demand curve? 110 minus q square. This is the green area, and then the yellow area. What's the yellow area? The yellow area is the rectangle. What's the area of a rectangle? It's length times breadth, which is 9 times 29. How much is 9 times 29? Let's quickly work that out. 261. So what is my blue area? So if I move down, I can write that the blue area, the blue shaded area, which is my consumer surplus, is equal to the whole green area, which is the area below the demand curve, minus the yellow area. The green area, which is this whole green area, I'm shading it again. This whole green area, which is the area below the demand curve from 0 to 9, minus the yellow area, is going to give me the blue area, which is the consumer surplus I need to find out. Now, students, the green area is integral from 0 to 9, 110 minus q square. The yellow area is 261, already calculated. Now we know a bit of integration. Let's integrate this with respect to q. So the integration of 110 with respect to q is 110q. The integral of q square is q cubed by 3. I expect students to know basic integration. We have covered this in the mathematical methods for economics course. Now we run this from 0 to 9 minus 261. So if I scroll down, let's put q as 9 first. So 110 into 9 minus 9 cubed by 3 minus, now we put q as 0. So 110 into 0 minus 0, 0 cubed by 3. Let me write it more clearly. This is 0 cubed by 3 minus 261. So this is going to come out as 990 minus, how much is 9 cubed? Let's quickly work that out. That's 729 over 3. This whole thing becomes 0 because this is 0 and this is also 0, minus 261 coming from here. So this is going to be 990 minus 729 over 3 is 243 minus 261 comes out as 486. Students can verify this, that the consumer surplus, the required consumer surplus is 486. So all we had to do was, we should know to understand what's meant by consumer surplus. Okay, so consumer surplus is simply the area below the demand and above the equilibrium price. We were given the demand function, we were given the equilibrium price and quantity. I just drew a rough sketch. Okay, when quantity is 0, price is 110. So it starts from here. It's a downward sloping curve. It's not linear because it's a quadratic equation. Students can see I just randomly took the price as 29 given to us and quantity as 9. Okay, and then all I had to do was find the blue area. The blue area is the green area minus the yellow area. The green area is found by integrating the area under the demand curve from 0 to 9. Yellow area is simply the area of the rectangle, which is 9 times 29, which is 261. I did the integration. I subtracted 261 from it. I got the required answer as 486. So if I come back to the question paper now, we can mark the right answer. The correct answer is option 4, which is 486. This is the answer for this question. Let's scroll down to question number 2. Question number 2 is a theory question. The Pareto optimality criteria implies fulfillment of all the conditions except which of the conditions? We are given 4 conditions. And Pareto optimality is a concept which I cover in my lectures on general equilibrium in the intermediate microeconomics course. Okay, so for Pareto optimality, it all talks about efficiency and efficient allocation of resources. We know that a Pareto optimal condition requires the marginal rate of transformation, which is the slope of the production possibility curve, should be equal to the marginal rate of substitution, which is the slope of the indifference curve. So this is a correct condition. Economies operating on the production possibility frontier, correct, because Pareto optimality requires you to be on the PPF. Production techniques embody the most efficient technology. This is also correct because when you are on the PPC, you are using technology efficiently. However, Pareto optimality condition does not talk about distribution of income. That means all these three conditions are correct. The last one is not the condition for Pareto optimality, because if you recall from my lectures on general equilibrium, where I talked about Pareto optimality, Edgeworth box, all those concepts, we never talked about distribution of income as a condition for Pareto optimality. That means my answer again is option 4 here. If I scroll down, this is my answer, because this is not a condition. I am coming to the whiteboard just to give a quick revision to all students about the Pareto optimality conditions. Okay, so moving on to the next page, doing question number 2, revising with all students. Recall the Pareto optimality condition. Recall that the Pareto optimality condition requires fulfillment of the following conditions. It requires the fulfillment of the following conditions. The first condition is that the marginal rate of transformation, which in the bracket I can write is the slope of the production possibility frontier between any two goods, should be equal to the marginal rate of substitution, which is the slope of the indifference curve between the two goods. This is an efficiency in exchange condition. Efficiency in exchange condition. Okay. The second one was that the economy should operate on the production possibility frontier. Economy operates on the production possibility frontier. This is efficiency in production. And the third condition is that production requires the most efficient technology. Production requires the most efficient technology. This is also a condition for Pareto optimality. Firms should use the most efficient technology, the one which involves the least cost in producing the commodities or the goods. So I can write this is the efficiency in product mix. Efficiency in product mix. Okay, but I can write a note that but Pareto optimality does not talk about income distribution. Pareto optimality does not require equal or fair income distribution. Hence, the last condition which was mentioned in the question is the correct answer, because that's not the condition. This is not the condition for Pareto optimality. Okay. The last question I intend to touch upon in this lesson is question number 3. Okay. We are given that the export of goods of a country is G as a function of time. It has a growth rate of A by T. That means the growth rate of exports is A by T. Services is also a function of time, and it has a growth rate of B by T. What is the growth rate of total exports? Now, total exports is the sum of export of goods and export of services. So let me come to the whiteboard. It's a mathematical question. Solving it on the whiteboard for all students. Let's look at question number 3. We are given that export of goods is G as a function of T, and the growth rate is of exports of good is given by the following. The growth rate is given by A by. Similarly, we are given that export of services is S as a function of T, and the growth rate of services is given by B by T. What do I need to find? I need to find the growth rate of total exports. Growth rate of total exports. Let's call the total exports as X. Okay. So total exports is nothing but export of goods plus export of services. We already know that. Okay. These are all functions of time. So I can differentiate with respect to time. So I can write differentiating. Remember, whenever we need to find the growth rates, we need to differentiate with respect to time. So differentiating above equation with respect to time gives me dx by dt equals dg by dt plus ds by dt. Okay. Now, what's the growth rate of exports? It's already given to us as A by T. Okay. So I can now write what's the growth rate of exports dg by dt. Now we are given, I'm writing it here, students. We are given that the growth rate of goods is A by T. That means 1 over G times dg by dt. This is nothing but growth rate of exports. 1 over G times dg by dt. This is how we find the growth rate, right? It's always the derivative divided by the variable with which we are measuring growth. So this is given to us as A by T. So what is dg by dt? dg by dt is, take g on the other side, becomes A by T times g. And on similar lines, the growth rate of services is what? 1 by S times ds by dt. It's 1 by S times ds by dt. This is the growth rate of services. So I can write here that we are given that 1 over S times ds by dt is B by T. So how much is ds by dt? Take S on the other side, it's B by T times S. So I can write it like the students, dx by dt is equal to, what is dg by dt? We just found out it's ag by t. What is ds by dt? We just found out it's bs by t. I'm revising till here once again for clarity. We were given the growth rate of goods. How do we find the growth rate of goods? It's the derivative of the goods function with respect to t divided by g. Again, we have covered growth rates in mathematical methods for economics course. Similarly, export of services were given. The growth rate was B by T. So how do I find the growth rate of services? It's ds by dt divided by S. So if 1 over G times dg by dt is A by T, what will dg by dt be? Take G on this side, it's ag by T. Similarly, if the growth rate of services is B by T, what will ds by dt be? Take S on the other side, makes it bs by T. I can now sub in the values. dg by dt is ag by T, ds by dt is bs by T. Now I need to find the growth rate of growth rate of total exports. Now how do I work that out? So this is my equation, call it as equation star. I can write dividing both sides of equation star by x. Dividing both sides of equation star by x. So 1 over x times dx by dt is equal to 1 over x times ag by t plus 1 over x times bs by t. What is this, students? This is nothing but the growth rate of exports, which is measured by x. How do I find the growth rate of exports? dx by dt divided by x, right? This gives me the growth rate of exports. Now let's sub in the value of x. What is x? G plus s, right? So I can just write 1 over x times dx by dt is equal to, I can just sub in the value of x. X is nothing but g plus s times ag by t plus 1 over g plus s times bs by t. Now I can take g plus s common. So what do I get? I get 1 over g plus s times ag by t plus bs by t. I just took 1 over g plus s common. And now I can further write this as 1 over g plus s times. I can just take t common. I can write this as ag plus bs. So I get 1 over x times dx by dt as this. Okay. And hoping students have understood this. So my final answer is ag plus bs over t times g plus s. This is nothing but the growth rate of exports. This is the answer for this question. So all we had to do was use the math. We were given growth rate of goods. We were given the growth rate of services. We know that total exports is the export of goods plus export of services. We differentiated with respect to T, which is time, because we need to find the growth rate of services. So dx by dt is dg by dt plus ds by dt. Okay. And then I found out dg by dt and ds by dt from the equations which were given to us here. This was the growth rate of goods. So dg by dt came out as this. This is the growth rate of services. So ds by dt came out as bs over t. Subbed in the values, divided both sides by x. Why did I divide this equation by x? Because I need to find the growth rate of exports. Growth rate of exports is nothing but dx by dt divided by x. So when I'm dividing the left hand side by x, I divide the right hand side also by x. And I just sub in the value of x. X is g plus s. So I put x as g plus s everywhere. I took g plus s common. I work out the algebra. I get my answer as for the growth of total exports as ag plus bs over t times g plus s. So I can come back to the question paper and I can mark the correct answer. This is option 4. ag plus bs over t times x. Remember, x is nothing but, if I come back to the whiteboard, x itself is what? G plus s, right? So I can write ag plus bs over t times g plus s is x, right? So this is my answer. ag plus bs, ag plus bs over tx. Because g plus s itself is x. Okay, so hoping students have understood how I've solved this particular problem. This is where I'm going to stop in this lesson. We have solved the first 3 problems. In the next lesson, I'm going to start with the discussion of question number 4. Okay, so I hope our students have enjoyed this lecture. Any doubts, you can unmute your mics and ask, or you can get in touch with me for doubts on call or WhatsApp, or you can always mail me your doubts at divineschooloфeconomics@gmail.com. I'm writing the email ID for clarity. This is divineschooloфeconomics@gmail.com. Okay, this is where I stop in this online lesson.